Welcome to a new round of Decision Makers, our frequent conversations with policymakers, prognosticators, and experts who offer us a wide range of the latest insights and perspectives on a wide range of issues. Pennsylvania State Representative Darisha Parker joins us, Vice Chair of the Pennsylvania Black Caucus, and representing the 198th District in the Keystone State, which includes parts of Philadelphia. Thanks for joining us, Representative. Always appreciate the time.
Oh, it's always a pleasure when you are asked to just share some wisdom or to share insights. And I think sometimes people think I hold back. I do not. I try to give people as much pearls of wisdom, and looking forward to one of your students one day shadowing me in Harrisburg. I am open to that because I need them to be up there on a very busy day. That would be like a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and literally see my whole schedule of meetings, of Zooms, of things, committee meetings, and blah 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 blah, just to see sometimes the day of the life, and then checking back in with my office to see how things are going. So, I'm always open for individuals, especially individuals trying to target individuals who represent the areas that I serve to shadow. There's a young lady who I'm going to be reaching out soon and saying, "Hey, I don't know what your schedule is next week, but I'm urging you to shadow me for a day because you need to understand what that looks like. You need to
That's important.
understand what that really, involves, and I'm looking forward to it. And sometimes I could say my hope is good on nothing less, on Jesus' blood and righteousness. That is always going to be my one of my songs, one of my prayers, and looking forward to what today's discussion is going to entail. And always to you, Charles, thank you for being always 100% 365 Blackness, but always keeping us accountable for the very uncomfortable subjects that you're about to dive into, because people who are on your airways always looking for an immediate answer, and this is not an immediate time as this is we are in a crisis and we are at war.
No, I appreciate those kind
Mhm.
of words, Representative. And so we'll find a student or two, see if they can join you.
Okay.
And that's a wonderful idea. I'm sure there's a few brave souls that are looking forward to that.
All
So
right.
we appreciate that. So, and thanks again. And just a slight footnote, Representative representing my old home district where I grew up. So parts of the Logan district or Logan
Mhm.
section of Philadelphia. So I had to put that footnote out there. So,
Absolutely.
and doing as fine a job as she can. So let's talk about that district, Representative.
Mhm.
I know a lot of our viewers are curious about the composition of it, right? So
Sure.
describe what that looks like, the constituents, the demographics,
Sure.
what the overall setting is.
And I'm so glad that you said that. When you're talking about the overall setting, are you talking about locally, statewide, nationally? What do you mean overall setting?
What it looks like locally, right?
Mm.
So the,
Mm.
the the people, the kind of district, the neighborhoods that you represent.
Sure, sure. Again, for the people may not know, I represent parts of East and West Oak Lane, Alany, Nicetown, Logan, and Germantown.
Mhm.
And I say like this little small little block of Tioga. Um, I have a senior center, two senior buildings on this strip in Tioga, which is about 65,000 individuals, and I give everybody laugh and comfort because I have both sides of Broad Street. I have your Logan side of Broad Street, and I have your Germantown, Nicetown side of Broad.
Right.
And sometimes both sides, I can say, with the participation process, it's a little bit different. A little bit different. I can say the side that is my side of the 10th ward, 49th and 61st ward, higher participation, higher participation for meetings, participation in different things like that. But for the bulk of the calls of what they need in their neighborhood comes from the 12th and the 13th ward, as far as what the greater needs are. And I also serve on insurance, commerce, agriculture and rural affairs, um, aging and older adults and children and youth. And I'm also on rules committee. So literally that is a snapshot of what my day and what it looks like. And a lot of this right now is spilling out into our neighborhoods. Listen, I'm gonna never take this time not to say what happens when you don't vote. What we are witnessing is a lot of people have realized that they have made a mistake. Despite of how you felt about who was running last year, you are now seeing the fallout for you not voting for a well accomplished, experienced, legal who was enforcing the law, and yes, was a prosecutor, African American woman, was not selected for whatever a person's reasons are, whatever person's politics, or sometimes I call it politricks. Now you are getting a criminal in chief with his best friend trying to dismantle not just government, but trying to dismantle and displace individuals, staff, agency, and take it for their own personal benefits. Yes, I am calling out the criminal in chief's best friend, who is trying to get contracts in the millions for himself because his company is falling at rapid paces. So that is now how government is supposed to work. Government is for the people. And I need people still to also understand is when you fight back, when you stand up, when you express how you truly feel, you're able to make things happen by flipping, I think two or three more seats in our Congress, which we need to do to block some of these egregious acts that are happening. And thankfully, we just are back in the House majority in Pennsylvania. We are in the House is in the majority. We are, I think, 5 seats away in the Senate to flip some seats to be in the majority. So that is the work and that is what's laid out to many people. So if they're trying to figure out what to do next year for these midterms elections, get involved, get activated. If you're in Pennsylvania or not, participate in the process. Because guess what? Locally in Philadelphia, we have an election. We have our city controller, our district attorney, and our common pleas and our municipal judges running, and we are getting geared up to make sure that our PA Supreme Court judges get back to be retained. And we cannot. I tell everybody jokingly, but I'm dead serious. I never thought this part of my career I would be speaking more to attorneys and judges based on a lot of things that are happening. I'm looking forward to, if you were here, I would get you here in a heartbeat. We would do a nice little town hall, but I'm trying to figure out how to really put this town hall together. Because there's another town hall that needs to take place. I'm gonna keep my mouth quiet because I know somebody gonna hear it and try to steal it and do it on their own. But I'm gonna put this one together. I've already started talking to the peoples that's placed. Now that I know that I got a venue that's close by, we can make it happen. And I'm looking for something that has ample parking. I'm looking for something that's conducive, and I'm looking for something that could be kind of on like neutral ground. Maybe more so, I might do it in the Northwest. I might just do it in the Northwest.
Mhm.
I'm trying to see if I could do it kind of like Northwest or maybe like North Central. So one of them I'm looking at is Enon on Cheltenham Avenue. And then another one I'm looking at is possibly maybe Sharon or Triumph. I'm looking at one of them because anybody has a big parking lot, that's what we need for the next series that we're trying to do.
Mhm. Um, Issues you're prioritizing. So, like, people will probably say,
Mhm.
okay, you sit on the agricultural committee.
Yes.
You represent a very urban district. That's a wide divergence of issues. So,
Mhm.
what are those issues that you are prioritizing?
So my main things are these food deserts. I recently had our Secretary of Agriculture come into the Germantown neighborhood. He met with a group of people. They showed them their mix, that type of farm that they've been able to do in the park, and he was just taking them through a lot of things. And they said, yeah, we wrote a grant for $15,000. He turned and looked at them. He was like, $15,000? Wait, I'm the Secretary of Agriculture for this entire state.
Right.
You have your state rep here. He was like, do you realize she votes on a budget that's $48 billion? And he was like, please, when you have that opportunity, especially when you have people like that on speed trial, please don't be scared. Please make sure you ask for what you need. He said, because now what's going to happen, and he forecasted it. He said, you're then going to be asking for funding in a very lean, and he was such a visionary. And he said this to them last year. He said, you're going to be asking for funding in a very lean time economy, and I hope she's going to be able to grant it. So he's basically was saying in a time like this, which was 24, 23, 22, 21, and when we had opportunities, when we had a overabundance of a surplus, those were the times for individuals in these urban communities to start asking and utilizing grants in agriculture. Now we got to see what funding is going to be available from whatever's coming from the feds versus what we currently have in our state budget. Because again, we do not have a rope, we do not have Microsoft, we don't have the big monsoon of a company or corporation in Pennsylvania that's influxing funds for our consumers to buy, that's going to have an abundance of money and revenue for it to close this gap. The reason why many Pennsylvanians, and Pennsylvania is a state that older adults have been flocking to, and many older adults may have a place here and somewhere else, because we have not taxed and we have not raised taxes. So now that we're in this fiscal cliff, what would be what is going to be the chance of us closing that gap? We still have not passed recreational marijuana, and we still have not passed skill games. So it's a gloom and doom type of situation. Looking forward to hearing from some of your people after I dump this doom and gloom on them.
And constituents, what are they talking about? So, food insecurity, your top issue.
Sure.
Obviously, you're talking about like, how do you, like, what's that budget? What's the state budget look like in lieu of federal cuts? But when
Sure.
constituents are calling you,
Mhm.
when they're, wanting the demanding issues be addressed, like food insecurity is one of them, but what's the passel of issues that they're talking about?
I think for some of the constituents, they haven't felt it yet.
Mm.
They had just going by what they read and see on the news, because I don't have a line wrapped around a corner for services. Okay. Now we have had an influx of our constituents have come in to get their rent and their rent rebate. They make sure they're getting that early, because they know, despite of the lean time, they want to get their money back, and they want their money back early, or they don't want to have to be, rushing with that. We also find that what we've been doing in our elementary schools, and we have like more to go, when we partner with our elementary schools, there is no food left. So what we do is we partner with our local food share programs. And during parent teacher night that they're giving away the report cards and the parents are coming in to meet with students, that is when we're there giving out fruits and vegetables. We also partner with about one or two agencies, so we make it a one-stop shop approach, that parents are able to get resources as well as food, as well as snacks, and as well as information from your state representative. And we find it's been going well. We just did one on Friday, and when I tell you, I can't even show you what the fruit looks like because everything is gone. Which is, for me, is a great feeling, but it also shows you the desperation that people are have. We were able to give away blueberries, lettuce, and grapes. The day before, we had bananas, mango, cucumbers, tomatoes, and lettuce. And we also gave away seeds, so if people wanted to plant in their gardens later on, they could. And we also gave away two fruit boxes of juices with no sugar in it.
You're the vice chair of the Pennsylvania Black Caucus, and so
Yeah.
I'm real curious about that. I'm sure other viewers
Mhm.
are as well. How does the caucus organize in a legislature as big as Pennsylvania's
Yeah.
and in one as contentious and polarized as that?
I'm so glad you put that question up. Listen, I say to you, Charles, and I'm always 100%. I think for African Americans, they don't utilize their legislative Black Caucus until they're in a crisis.
Mm,
And when they're in that crisis, it's a do or die situation versus having me on the front end so that I can prevent the crisis on the back end. Now, these same group of people, your home care providers, your daycare owners, those are the individuals who are literally trying to get on my calendar now because they're concerned about what's going to be happening if they don't receive certain funds from the federal government. How is their programs going to, how are they going to get their payments in time for certain services rendered? So these are the industries that are always like a month behind. So it's
mhm,
like they'll do all of the services that they did in March and will not be paid until April. So
mhm.
again, a lot of these, the ones that I named that are African Americans, are very concerned and want to know what can be done to be preventive of it. I recently, last year, from June until October, I fought with our Secretary of Human Services and was like, hey, these are our constituents. We have to make sure they've gotten their checks. We cannot hold it back because of a contract renegotiation or someone else is going to be the provider. They have done the services, they need to be paid. It was a very long, stressful, strenuous thing, but I made sure of it. I fought very hard to make sure that it was done. And I'm looking forward to continuing this fight because again, listen, I say to you all the time, sometimes for me, being a member of the Black Caucus, when I walk into these rooms, I make a decision that I'm always going to be Black. I say, do not honor me in February because I'm Black 365. So I tell my staff, don't put anything that I need to be celebratory in February. I do every time I get up and I open my mouth, I know I'm fighting for somebody that looks like me. I always try to keep it near and dear to my heart, whether you vote for me or not. Once I took that oath of office, I am a politician. And if you're calling my office and you live in South Philly or Southwest Philly, absolutely, I rather take that call because I need my staff to handle the individuals that work for me. So I try to balance it and act. But again, Charles, I think because he's been in this role for 90 days and a lot of things that people still have not they have not received that letter of final or termination notice yet. So I'm very concerned, and we're planning on, if I'm doing a food giveaway in March, how are we going to be doing the food giveaway during the times that they're home in June, July, August through September? And that's what we're looking to do. How much is it going to cost me to do some of these food giveaways? One of my colleagues has offered to partner with me, State Representative Amon Brown. He's been doing a tremendous job doing these food giveaways. I think yesterday he was getting, no, Saturday he was giving away bed sheets. So he is just, he's really taking it to another level. And I'm identifying individuals who are currently giving away food programs in their current churches or mosques. And if they are, I'm just going to partner with them saying, hey, is this something that we can advertise? If we advertise, can I set up a table? So that just gives me just another face to constituent service. Am I concerned? Absolutely. Am I bombarded the way I should be bombarded? No. Am I encouraging individuals to stand up and fight? Yes, I am. On Mondays, there's always a rally in Philadelphia for Senator McCormick. And on Fridays, there's a rally for Senator Fetterman. And this is the time that I'm telling individuals, Make sure your voice is heard, whether email, whether phone call, or whether you protest to your federal officials on your from your state senators to your congress people. Let them know your frustration, organize, and let them know how you feeling. Because guess what? These congress people, to your extent, are running next year
Mhm.
with your state reps, and they need to know who you are, and you need to know who represents you.
Mhm. So I'm wondering about this too,
Sure.
the extent to what federal cuts, because they're already happening, right? Cuts to medical assistance, food assistance, a number of other programs as well. And then you all are going through negotiations as far as the budget.
Yes, sir.
That's still going on right now. So I wonder about the interface between you and your colleagues on the other side of the aisle as you're trying to reconcile those cuts, right? You're understanding how you just talked about it just a minute ago about how those cuts are having a very intense, very uh, a very negative impact on your constituents and other people in the city as well. What are those? Are they very cantankerous? Those negotiations, those interactions between you and colleagues on the other side of the aisle. What aren't we seeing?
I'm never cantankerous. If you was to come into my office, you would literally see the bills that I had signed into law
Mhm.
by working with the other side of the aisle. So I don't start off a conversation cantankerous. I go to the moderate Republicans or even the very extreme Republicans who I've been dealing with for 5 years. Okay, it's a very different relationship in our state senate, but I still speak to everybody. And I'm not disrespected. I am not negative. I am very straight front. My yes is my yes and my no is my no. I do not give it in writing. I do not give it in a text. I look you straight in the eye and I said, you know what, Charles, that's a good question that you're asking me about House Bill 1100. You know what? Let me get back to you. Let me see further on how we can look at this and see, implement some of your ideas. But you know what, Charles? I like what you're thinking. I like what you're saying. Would you and your team be willing to talk to our writers or our research team to implement some of your changes into legislation? Like that is what I've done on many occasions, and it works out well. Like a lot of people don't even realize that until when people have ideas, I take them and say, guess what? It's not mine. It's our ideas. Let's go meet with the team and let's see how this goes. And that's what people like. They like a person who's present. They like a person who shows up, whether it's her district or not. And they like the fact that I stay for the whole time if people are having events. So to your original point, I don't know what it's going to take for our folks of color to be that angry and that fired up and that passion. And I'm not saying I'm encouraging anybody for violence. I'm not telling anybody to burn up Teslas or any of those things. I'm not saying that. I understand you, trust and believe I do, but I'm not saying I'm not saying that. I would love us to be back in the days of the Black Panthers that made sure they had their own resources, that they made sure their kids were educated, they made sure their kids were housed, and they made sure we had our own food, and they made sure that we all had housing. And it was that mantra that many people forgot what really activism looked like. I like their presence, the way they were unified. I like how they were commanding attention and how they were not by any means necessary. They were not taking anything lightly. And to me, that's the type of passion that's missing. Not sure what folks are waiting for. A lot of people are saying when it comes to the Democratic Party, they see no leadership, that they are waiting for somebody to give them a marching order to do something.
Mhm.
And I'm saying to everybody, if not me, then who? I want them to do something and to be involved. And a lot of times when I just attended a town hall on Saturday, folks are really looking for leadership and direction.
So I know we got you for about several more minutes, and I appreciate this too. There was a recent legislative seat battle over a district This is a House district covering parts of Lancaster County.
Oh,
So
the
that
state,
helps
the Senate, the Senate.
State Senate, right?
Mhm.
Excuse me, I appreciate that. Um, so that helps Democrats close in on the Republican majority. So what do you think these signs tell us? There are other, small legislative seat wins that are happening in other states too, where Democrats are slowly kind of climbing up the ladder. People say that this is something of a sign for other for midterm elections that are going to be coming up in 2026. I mean, what do you think from your vantage point? What do you think this tells us?
It tells me that folks are not waiting. I was with an organizer on Saturday, and she said she knew, looking at some of those numbers, that she just could not sit on her morals, that she had to do something and she had to get involved. That's why she made sure she ran down there to fight. She had to make sure that we flip the seat. I just need that passion. So as we're months away from next year, that we go and flip more seats in the House and the Senate and our congressional, so that we can do more work.
Mm, mm,
That's how I feel. Now,
mm.
if folks hear me and if they ready to do this work, then let's rumble. But if you're just doing it just for the likes, or you're just doing it for, the sanctity of whatever that is not going to work for me.
All right. Thanks again, Representative, for your time. We know you're busy. That about wraps this episode. I'm Charles Ellison, your executive producer and host. A warm round of gratitude, as always, to our partner, the Civic Literacy and Media Institute, Media Influence Institute, always for making this possible. And a special thanks to the Council of Government, State Governments, Eastern Region, for their support and help for our legislator series, which we conduct frequently and occasionally, like we have Representative Parker here. Diane Ellison is executive producer. Raven Robinson is senior producer. Until then, find this episode and others while subscribing at thebnote.com. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.